Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is put on your thread. You're going to start with 4 RoundDuos separated by a 15-0 seed bead. So again, I have 4 RoundDuos and 4 15-0 seed beads. I'm going to bring those down to almost the end of your thread. If you want to put a stop bead, you can, but I'm not going to. And then you're just going to circle around and go through that 15-0 and that first RoundDuo that we put, and make a little box like that. Now this little thread here, I'm going to loosen everything just for a moment. I'm going to go in through this RoundDuo here. I'm going to bring that thread in there, and you should not have any problem. If you need to put it on a needle, you can, but you shouldn't have any problem doing this step. But when you're on camera, you're going to have a problem doing it. Be back. Okay, so what I did was I got my little tail thread through the RoundDuo next to it, where it was coming out of this little 15-0 bead, and I went into the RoundDuo next to it, and I just hopped on over to the other hole, through the top hole, or the hole we haven't used yet. And my working thread, I did the same thing. It's coming out of a RoundDuo, and I just hopped on over to the other hole in my RoundDuo. So here is where I'm coming out. Now from here, we're going to start out adding our MobyDuo beads. So this is where I'm coming out. We're going to add a MobyDuo, a 15-0, and a MobyDuo, and go in through our next RoundDuo and line the other hole. Gonna do, coming out of our next RoundDuo and line, gonna do the same thing. We're going to do MobyDuo, 15-0, and MobyDuo. Go into our next RoundDuo and line, and I'll move my finger in a bit so you can see. This is how it should look. Coming out of my next RoundDuo, same thing. MobyDuo, 15-0, MobyDuo. Going through your next RoundDuo. And I know my finger's in the way, but I have to keep holding this. I'll try to do it like this. Coming out of my last RoundDuo in line, gonna get a MobyDuo, a 15-0, and a MobyDuo, and I'm going to go through my last RoundDuo and through the MobyDuo after it. And I'll show you what you should have. This is what you should have. So you should have 4 sets of MobyDuos like this, and everywhere you have a little 15-0 seed bead in between your RoundDuos, above it where you have your MobyDuos, you should have a 15-0 also separating your MobyDuos. Okay, now come out of a MobyDuo and hop on over to the other hole of that MobyDuo. Just like that. Now, from here we're going to start adding our halo beads and our SuperDuos. And we're also going to be adding some 11-0s. So everywhere you have, say, I'm coming out here, and I'm going to add here where I have just where I'm going to be above a RoundDuo on its own. I'm going to put a halo bead with its SuperDuo. So I'm going to go in through my halo bead and SuperDuo in it, and make sure you're in through both. Let it drop and go in through your next MobyDuo in line. Everything's still going to be pretty loose right now, but that's okay. We're going to fix that. Now I'm coming out here in this section. I'm in between two MobyDuos again, but this is where we have a little 15-0 in here. Every time you're in between two MobyDuos where there's a 15-0, you're going to pick up an 11-0 and then your halo bead with your SuperDuo. And then your 11-0. Okay? So here I have my halo bead and my SuperDuo. And I'm going to pick up another 11-0. Okay, so again, in between the little MobyDuos where there's a 15-0, you're going to pick up 11-0, halo with SuperDuo, and an 11-0. And going through your next MobyDuo. Now I'm coming out another section, again, in between two MobyDuos, but there is no 15-0 bead in here. You only have a RoundDuo. So here you're just going to add just the halo bead with a SuperDuo again. So continue doing this all the way around. Whenever you're in an area in between two MobyDuos where there's only a RoundDuo, just add your halo bead with your SuperDuo. When you go in through this MobyDuo and you're coming out here in this section where there's a 15-0, you're going to do the 11-0, the halo bead with SuperDuo, and the 8 and the 11-0 after it. So continue doing this little pattern all the way around and I will meet you back. Okay, so I added all of my SuperDuo and halo beads along with my 11-0s in the appropriate areas, and I'm just gonna stick my thread into the back of my project. And now we're going to be working with our crystals. And okay. So once you've added your last halo bead with your SuperDuo in it, you still need to be coming out of that same hole. And when you're coming out from a halo SuperDuo, from a halo bead, I'm just going to refer to these as halo beads. When you're coming out of a halo bead and you're in an area where you're above a RoundDuo only, pick up a 15-0, a crystal, and a 15-0, and I'm coming out here, so I'm going to go this way into my RoundDuo, that same hole, the one closest to our halo bead. Now once you're coming out of your RoundDuo, pick up another 15-0, go through that same crystal and the crystal only, and this time hold your crystal as you pull your thread. That way it doesn't get all like out of whack. Now you're coming out of your crystal, pick up a 15-0 and go through that halo bead again. And make sure you got all of it, meaning the SuperDuo inside it. And then just kind of help your little 15-0 stay to the front. And then pull tight and then just kind of arrange your crystal there. Straighten it out a bit and then pull your thread. Okay. Now I'm coming out of my halo bead. I'm going to go through my MobyDuo, my 11-0 in my next unit, and we need to go through our SuperDuo halo here too. I couldn't go through everything at once, so now once you're coming out of this SuperDuo, now when you're coming out of the SuperDuo halo, the halo bead, and an area where you have your 11-0s and you're above a 15-0 bead, pick up, let me get a little bit closer, pick up 3 15-0s, go through this little 15-0 here, and only that, and pull, and then pick up 3 more 15-0s, and go back through that same halo. And if you catch the 11-0 after it, that's fine. So that will put those little 15-0s right there. And I really like how that looks. Now we need to go through our 11-0, our MobyDuo, and our next halo bead. Now here we are again. And I'm going to put my crystal again. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a crystal, and a 15-0. Coming out this way, I'm going to go this way through my RoundDuo. And I'm going to pull, 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 pull. Then, coming out of my RoundDuo, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. Go through this crystal here, the same one, and I'm going to hold it as I pull my thread. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, go through this halo bead again, and pull, and fix everything nice and tidy. And, oh, too close. All right. So now we're going to go through our next MobyDuo, our next 11-0, and our next halo bead. And then again, we're going to pick up 3 15-0s, go through this little middle 15-0 bead, pick up 3 more 15-0s, and go through this halo bead again. Okay, so keep doing this all the way around your project. Okay, I'm back. So, as I was saying, this is the top part of my earring, and I need 1 more 15-0 there. And then I'm just going to go in through this next halo bead. So, okay. And pardon my dog earlier, he was being a little bit of a drama queen, but we're good now. Okay, so now I'm back opposite from this side, and we're going to do 15-0 crystal, 15-0 again, twice. Okay, so my dog, my little Chihuahua, was the one that was in here a while ago and he was crying, and now my other dog is crying. So, so oh well. Okay, now one more time, 15-0 crystal, 15-0, and now we're here at the bottom. And so see, here it's going to go 5 more 15-0 beads, and here also 5 more 15-0 beads. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm just going to meet my thread with my meet my working thread with this tail here, and I'm gonna tie a knot. After I tie my knot, I'm going to do the other part of this earring. So, but let me show you something. Okay, so this is what I have. You can leave this like it is and just add a wire guard up here, right here, or you can do a little bail with your 15-0 seed beads up here, or if you want it, you know, this way. No, it looks kind of weird like that, like this. I think that would be the best way to wear it. But like I said, you can add a wire guard, or you could do a little bail with seed beads and just add your earring thing, and you can finish it, and you'll just have an earring with this. But if you want to do this, just stay with me so I can show you how to do this part. It's very, very simple. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just meet my thread back here with this one, and I'm going to tie a knot. So go ahead and do the same, and I will meet you back to show you how to do this part. Okay, for this next part, for this part of our earring, you're going to start with 4 halo beads and 4 MobyDuos, and it's going to be halo, Moby, and so forth. So after you have your 4 and 4, go ahead and tie a knot, but don't tie it, just tie it snug. Don't tie it extremely tight, just snug so that it doesn't open. So just one knot will work. And you want to tie it to where it's still loose enough to where all of your beads will lay flat. If you tie it and everything wants to curve on you, or they don't want to lay flat, then it's too tight. So tie it to where everything will still lay flat, okay? So, and I'm just going to put this tail thread in through there so it'll be in the back of my work. Okay, once you have that, go in through your halo bead here, or just find a halo bead, your closest one. Coming out of my halo bead there, I'm going to hop on over to this hole here, the outer one. Now when you're coming out of a halo bead, it's going to be 15-0 and crystal in through your Moby. Coming out of my MobyDuo, it's going to be crystal and 15-0. Going through your next halo bead, and let me get this out of your way. There. Coming out of my halo bead again, it's going to be 15-0 and crystal. Going through your MobyDuo. Out of my MobyDuo, it's going to be crystal and 15-0 in through your MobyDuo. You need to go in through your MobyDuo again. So just pull to where your crystals are laying right, okay? Okay. There we go. Now coming out of my halo is going to be 15-0 and crystal in through my MobyDuo. Coming out of my MobyDuo, it's going to be crystal and 15-0 in through my next halo bead. And just be careful when you go through your halos, because if you don't go in it the right way, you can accidentally miss your SuperDuo, and then you'll have thread showing. So you just want to make sure you go in it right, and you go in through your SuperDuo as well. So here's my MobyDuo. Now I need to go into my last one. So, coming out of my MobyDuo, it's going to be crystal and then 15-0. And then I'm going to go in through my halo bead, and I'm going to sew past the halo bead through my 15-0 after it, my crystal, and then I'm going to go into my MobyDuo here. Once you're coming out of your MobyDuo, and keep laying it flat, okay? Like that. Once you're coming out of your MobyDuo, hop on over to the other hole of your MobyDuo. And you should be able to go in through it with no problem. This is why you cannot tie your knot too tight, because if you do, you're going to have a hard time doing this part. So you're going to pick up, coming out of my MobyDuo in the inner hole, going to get an 11-0, a RoundDuo, and an 11-0. Coming out here you can see my thread, and I'm going to go in through here. In other words, not diagonally this time. Coming out of my MobyDuo there, going to go back through my RoundDuo. So we're doing like a square, I guess you could say. Our threads will form like a, you know, like a square, a rectangle by going down all these beads, if you can imagine that. Okay, and then go through that same MobyDuo that we started, okay? And then just fix all your seed beads and everything. Okay, just keep setting it flat, all right? So now we need to hop on over back out to the outer hole of this MobyDuo, and we're going to attach it now to our main piece. Okay, so I'm coming out of my MobyDuo here on this little component on this side, and I've added 5 11-0s to my string, and I'm just going to go in through this halo bead this way, okay? I'm coming out through this side, and I'm going in this way. I'm going to pull. Then I'm going to put 3 more 11-0s. And remember I put 5 here. I'm going to go in through my second one from the top, this part being the top. So I'm going through my second bead, not the middle one. I usually do the middle, but going through my second one. And then once I do that, I'm going to pick up 1 more 11-0 and then go back through my MobyDuo on, well, I'm going to go through my MobyDuo on this side, and this is what we should have now. That's what you should have. And I'm going to go through all these beads again, which will be these 5, these 5, and trust me, this is way easier, just not when you're, it's still easy doing it on camera, but it's easier when you're not. So go through there, and then I'm going to go back up, because you just want to reinforce this, because this is your little connecting beads. So there, and I'm going to go through my MobyDuo back this way, and now I'm going to sew all the way to the top here, because I'm going to add my little thing there, my little wire guard. So I'm going to sew back through everything and make my way up to the top. My finger's probably in the way while I'm doing this, but all I'm doing is sewing through these crystals and 15-0s and these MobyDuos to make my way to the top. If you can't go in through, if you can't do more than 2 beads, going through 2 beads, then that's fine, just be patient. Okay, so I'm coming out here. Now here I'm going to add, coming out through my crystal here, at the very top, I'm just going to add a 15-0, my little wire guard. Then I'm going to go down the other hole of my wire guard, making sure that my thread is in that little spot there where the thread goes. If you've used wire guards, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to go through this crystal here. We're not circling. We're just going to, once you put in your 15-0 and your wire guard, and you go in through this part of your wire guard, and you pick up your 15-0, you're going to go in through this crystal and down this way. Okay, so this is the end result. This is what I have, and you should have something similar. And as I said before, if you want, you can just make an earring out of this little component, or even just a smaller earring out of this little component. But I like big earrings, so I did mine like this. And also, you can even probably just do this little component and add a drop, maybe not this big piece, or do this one and just add like one little bead up here if you want. So there's a lot you can do with this little design, and they're really easy. They look really beautiful. I think no matter how you no matter how you make these, you're just gonna end up with a very, very lovely turnout. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed making these.